Now, I think there is this kind of growing awareness among people that we don't want to live like atomized cells, like solipsistic clumps.
Totally, yeah.
In a sense, we want that. You know, you got your DoorDash. You don't have to speak to your neighbors. You hope that your garage door will shut before it's an awkward encounter with the person who lives 10, 15 feet away from you.
Right.
Maybe a little more than that, but you know. So there, I think. One thing I was thinking about while you were saying that is there is this desire for people to live what they call the Benedict option, which is often, you know, wrongly thought to mean go and bunker down somewhere and don't have any sort of outreach to the outside world, which is at least not what Rod Dreher meant when he wrote the book.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I'm thinking of the sort of RV culture and the minimalist houses, these simple houses that people just have like one room, and it's all. And at first there seems virtue in that because you're like, well, that's cool. You don't want to have superfluous things. You only want what you need. But then it's like, well, how do you welcome people into your house? How do you hold a meal for people? How do you speak to those things for a bit?
Well, I think that we're all called to different vocations. You know, the hermit has his place. You know, he does have his one cell and nothing else.
Yeah.
But others of us are called to living in community. And you know, my son's godfather, amazing guy. He taught me always to have my refrigerator totally full, totally packed, so that if anybody was there and opened it up, they never feel shy about grabbing anything. So he keeps 2 cases of beer in his refrigerator at all times. I mean, it's like the biggest refrigerator of all time. And I think that's the type of welcome that probably Adam felt in the garden. It's like, have all of this, you know, don't have those trees over there, but all of this. I mean, he wouldn't even notice those trees over there, right?
Maybe was it one tree, wasn't it?
I mean, it's like
every tree,
there you
just
go.
This one.
Yeah, not even the tree of life. I always lump them together. For whatever reason. Yeah, but you're right. And I think that idea of being able to fend away from the social media relationships and having real relationships, fend away from Netflix and have kind of board game night or something like that, but actually coming into a personal relationship again. I mean, that's our path to heaven, you know, and it doesn't mean that extroverts have it easier necessarily, but yeah, I agree with you that our home should be ready to welcome those relationships.
So why is it that we want to just pick up and go? Like, I get that. I just came in from Florida 2 hours ago, and it was like sunny and beautiful. I'm like, part of me just wants to put all of my kids in an RV and just follow the sun. You know? Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some virtue in that, right? Or at least, let me put it a different way. Yeah. As Thomas Aquinas would say, right? You don't ever choose anything unless you perceive it to be a good. So what is it that the person who wants to get into an RV and just take off perceives
What's the good in that? Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of good in it, right? I mean, the sun is good. It's beautiful. It lifts our spirits. It brings us peace and at least relaxation to our body. I wouldn't say necessarily use the word peace. I should take that back. But, you know, I think that...
Freedom from constraints, freedom from...
Yeah, but it's, you know, St. John Paul II...
That's absolutely why we do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the result.
Surely. Yeah.
I'm saying you just want to be free. That's why I just want to get on the road. I want to live simply. I'm tired of all this baggage.
I know. I tell my wife, that, you know, once a week that I want to go on vacation to Hawaii. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I think that's, you know, the whole, you know, toes in the water, ass in the sand, not a worry in the world. I got a cold beer in my hand is, you know... It's something that taps on all of us. And I think in part of it is just because we have gotten so used to living atomized lives. Like this fact that we're this like monadic beings, to use kind of philosophical language, is just false. Our being is the same as everyone else's being. We're univocal. We're not the same as God. We don't share his being. We share one another's being. We share being. Like we're attached to one another. But the more and more that we're part of this economy that makes us feel like cogs in a machine where we just get up, go to work, do our thing in our cubicle by ourselves, then drive home. I mean, think about just all the hours that people spend in a car, which again makes you feel like an atomized individual. You're sitting in a car by yourself, listening to whatever you want. There's no constraints on you. And there's really not a lot of hope actually in that, because you get used to this way of living and you think this is how things actually are. instead of realizing just how good things actually are, that we do share being, that we get to share life with one another.
This is such a beautiful, this is so true. I think some of us, or maybe many of us, come from broken, dysfunctional homes. I don't know, to some degree we all do, but I mean seriously dysfunctional or broken, that we actually can't imagine what it would look like to live in a loving community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always very refreshed when I'll go to a religious order's house for dinner or something, and I see the brotherhood of the Friars of the Renewal or something like that, for example. You're like, wow, this joy is really on offer. And the same thing can be said when you go to William and Claire Newton.
Yeah.
They live 2 doors down from us or 3 doors down from us, and they're constantly texting us, hey, we're going to have some drinks tonight, pray the rosary, you want to come over? Done. And we just walk, 100 steps. and it's like, wow, this is beautiful. You know? Like Steubenville's not necessarily beautiful. There are beautiful parts, and I think it has its own beauty.
Sure.
But there's certainly a lot of rundown roads and things, buildings and things like that for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We got some rundown stuff
But to
here.
quote Peter Kraft, and I don't mean to be insulting to anybody who lives in the Bronx. Have you heard this quote?
No.
He says, you'd rather be in love in the Bronx than divorced in Hawaii. And there is such wisdom in that. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because it's so true. Like
No,
everyone agrees with that.
Yeah.
And there's something similar when it comes to friendship and community.
Totally.
So that's when people ask me, why did you guys move to Steubenville? I say friendship.
Yeah.
And I just let it hang there and see what their response would be. Because that's really why we came. We didn't have to move.
Yeah, yeah. Reason why we came is that we thought that our kids would have the best chance of becoming saints here.
That's a way better answer.
But it's the same answer in a certain sense. What is our ultimate joy? It's friendship with God. How do we get there? Friendship with one another. There's this melding together that happens between the first and second great commandments of loving God and loving neighbor, and I think that this is part of our path, and it's a beautiful one. But I say particularly becoming saints is because I think we are products of our culture in ways that are so mysterious it's hard to articulate, where we actually become those that are around us in a certain way, in a mysterious way, that we actually, like, through the habits, through the festivals, through the feasts that we have, through the habits and what our living revolves around, really determines whom we become. And so when we were trying to decide where to live, we thought, man, we want to become those people.
And I'd say every parent gets that.
Mm-hmm.
So every parent is concerned about who their son or daughter hangs out with.
Yeah.
And it's for similar reasons. Where were you? Okay, and by the way, I just want to say this one more time, right? There are many great communities. And so when we're talking about this, in case people think, well, how does this apply to me? I'm not moving to Steubenville. Stop talking inside baseball. We're really not. We're talking about how to live a beautiful communal Catholic life.
Yeah.
And that can be done, technically anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
I might toss one other thing in there. Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of good Catholic communities, places. But one of the reasons why I was focusing in on the culture thing is because there's not a lot of Catholic culture in many places. And again, I'm not trying to exclude anybody, and I'm certainly not claiming that it's not possible other places. I think that a completely atheist society is in danger of changing when there's just a handful of Catholics there. So there's a great attempt to become the leaven that rises up in the bread of your city and changing what it fundamentally is. But there's a lot of good people in a lot of good cities. But one of the things that I love here, and that was actively going, and we hope to help push this rock further and faster, is that the way that people think around the liturgical calendar, around the times of days in accordance with, say, praying the office, around what month it is. I mean, it's Catholic. And there's the assumption, Lent's coming, we're all changing what we're doing. Eastertide's coming, we're all changing what we're doing. And that culture where you can kind of assume it in the air is not found everywhere.
I was so moved by Holy Thursday Mass.
Yeah.
I was like crying throughout the whole thing, partly because they clipped the little ropes in between pews and we were just stuffed in there worshiping God together.
Yeah, praise
just
Him.
The beauty of the Latin Mass, and I was weeping. I was weeping at the dignity of everybody I saw around me. Yeah. Families who are striving to be holy, who are falling down and getting up with their eyes on Jesus. I was so moved by it. Yeah. I think I said to you, this is so much cooler than being an atheist.
Yes, you did. Yeah, it was so funny. Yeah, they really don't have anything like that.
Thank you for watching this clip. You can click here to watch the full episode. And I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors and to our amazing patrons for making all of this possible. Please do us a favor before you go. Click that subscribe button and then the bell. And that way YouTube will be forced to let you know every time we put out a new episode.